delivered.
Welcome back, everyone. 14 after the hour. Time for us to go behind the headlines, where we get the latest information from the website rawstory.com, which is reporting that Georgia cops fight law inspired by toddler maimed in raid. To fill you in on this, they're working on a law called Bobo's Law, and it's named for the 19-month-old boy named Bokum Fonasavan, who was severely injured during a no-knock raid in Habersham County, Georgia, last year. 19-month-old boy was injured when the cops threw in a flashbang grenade that landed in the boy's crib. It ended up blowing a hole into the little boy's chest. Going through the rest of this says the toddler's nose was detached from his face and the blast ripped a hole in his chest and caused serious burns. He will likely require regular surgeries until he is 20 years old. His family has already racked up nearly $1 million in medical bills. Currently, the county, Habersham County, is arguing that they are not legally authorized to pay those $1 million in bills. And none of the police involved in that no-knock raid faced any sort of disciplinary action because, of course, they did everything by the book. Nobody ever questions that maybe the book is written incorrectly, except for these legislators who say, hey, maybe we ought to rewrite the book. This Bobo's Law that they're putting together would prohibit no-knock raids between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Can't bust into someone's house in the middle of the night, and I think the Bobo raid was like 4 a.m, something like that, really, really early in the morning. It would also instruct law enforcement agencies to develop written policies and training for executing no-knock warrants. Now that shocks me into thinking that, wait, there aren't already policies in writing? There isn't already special training for these officers conducting no-knock warrants? The law would also require that supervising officers are present and require assurance that human lives or evidence are in imminent danger. That is, you can't just do a no-knock raid because you suspect someone's got a bunch of weed or maybe a grow in their house. You've got to have some sort of assurance that human lives are in danger or these guys are in the process of destroying evidence before you can get a no-knock raid. This kid spent 5 weeks in a medically induced coma. And like we said, he's going to have to spend the rest of his life, his young life, in surgery. And the Democrat who proposed the bill said, quote, "We're saying there should be restrictions on them, and we think the situation in the recent past where they have been abused warrants that." Where they've just been using no-knock raids just because they're fun, just because they want to play some shock and awe game with the suspects. But the International Brotherhood of Police Officers in Georgia, as represented by their spokesperson, Carrie Mills, said that there's already too many restrictions on doing no-knock raids. It's already too tough for the cops. She says, quote, "I don't think any changes are needed because it is not easy now," end quote. Well, apparently it was easy enough to lead to a kid getting a hole blown in him. You don't think that calls for any sort of rewriting of the book here, huh? But here is the real chilling part of what she had to say. Quote, and this is the police spokesperson, quote, "You have to draw the line between your right as a citizen to privacy and a community's right to live in a crime-free environment. You can't have them both." Oh. So we could have privacy, but only if we want crime to run rampant in our streets, is what she's trying to tell us here. Didn't Benjamin Franklin say something about trading liberty and security? This case that went down, that led to the no-knock raid, that blew a hole in a toddler, put him in a coma for 5 weeks, and is going to lead to millions of dollars worth of surgeries for the rest of his young life, was over a confidential informant who was arrested, who allegedly sold $50 worth of meth. $50 worth of meth. This police spokesperson talks about having safe neighborhoods. We want to live in a crime-free environment. I think a lot of us would like to live in an environment where police force isn't used to break down people's doors and assault their family and shoot their dogs over a $50 drug deal. There gets to a point here where it's diminishing returns. How much of the community are you really saving and securing by trying to bust some snitch on a $50 drug deal versus the chaos and damage and fear and terror you strike into a neighborhood when flashbang grenades are going off at 4 a.m? Now, the drug task force has been disbanded, the one that did the raid. The drug agent who secured the no-knock warrant resigned. The judge who signed the warrant retired. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any justice for little